Ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting live from the Scintillation State Studio in Northern California, home of Ukulele J Barbecue. Get your wood fired up and your charcoal burning as we get our smoke on with the worldwide streaming Strum Pluckin Good live.
Smoke on, baby! Sunday, April 25th. We're going live with D.a.T Sauce, also D.a.T KeTcHuP. Scott Green's in the house, co-founder. We are going live, youtube.com/ukulelejbbq. Thanks for joining everybody. Today's going to be an incredible day. We've got some awesome stuff to show everybody today. And we're going to be looking at some stuff on the bayou down in Louisiana. That's where Scott's at today. And before we get started with everything, we got some good stories. We got some video for you that you're going to absolutely love. We got a photo that's going to be incredible. And before we get started, though, of course, my sponsors really help me out with all my cooking and help me get this show going on the road. We've got Dr. Bill's Candy Maple Syrup, D.a.T Sauce, of course. We got Georgia Earl's Barbecue Sauce, Naughty Wood Barbecue, Ocean State Pepper Company, Billy's Bacon, Voodoo Roasters Coffee, Brala's Garlic Whip, Brala's Best, and The Meat Stick. So with that being said, I'd like to welcome Scott on the show. Scott, welcome to the show. You're live with everybody on Strum Pluckin Good.
Hey, how's it going, my friend?
It's going great, man. How are things down there today?
Oh, it's beautiful. Weather's beautiful.
Yeah,
sunny and cool.
That's good because it's
kind
crappy
like
and
California
cold.
weather.
Yeah, it's crappy and cold, and it's raining today. So how about that? April showers bring May flowers, they say. But you know, I want to thank you for coming on the show. I usually do this on Sundays. A little mini announcement for everybody is I'm going to move kind of to different days because a lot of guests, you know, got a lot of feedback. People love weekends, but I kind of like my weekends. I know you like your weekend, and so I hate intruding on a weekend. But I'm going to do this, I think, during the week, and maybe some weekends we're going to mix it up. So thanks for at least taking your Sunday because I know you're super busy. We've got so much to talk about today. Our guests are going to love hearing about the TV show that just filmed on your property, and we'll talk about that. It's going to be broadcast tonight for the opening. We'll talk about that as well. And you know, before we get started with all the great stuff, and you're a man of many, many stories, which is fantastic. Love talking to you. I know we can talk forever. First, you know, everybody wants to know the people behind the products, and, you know, it's not every day you get to talk to the founder of a company and hear, you know, what's happened to get them to where they're at today. And you have a fascinating background in history. So I'd like to get started with, you know, you telling us basically a little bit about you. Where did you grow up? Did you go to college? And what got you started in the sauce business?
Well, I grew up right here in South Louisiana on the bayou. I mean, if you look behind me, you know, that's, you know, when I was a kid, you know, I had a bicycle, but I never used it because everywhere we went in a boat. It was quicker, easier, and a lot funner. You know, I grew up here, went to college at Nicholls State University, graduated in economics, of all things. But you know, I switched my major my senior year because I could graduate a semester earlier in economics. Not that I'm an economics guy by no means, but it was a business degree, and you know, it sits on my wall. I've never really used it for anything other than letting it sit on my wall.
Well, I don't know about that. You got a very, very successful business. You're in over 3,300 stores across the country. I'd say that you might not think so, but I think that degree did help you just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, you know, one of the things I remember most from college, one of my professors, and I tell kids this all the time, you know, when people go through hard times, or, you know, the one thing that sticks out, you know, in my college days is one professor said, where there's threat, there's opportunity. And then for every negative, there's a positive. And you just got to figure out how to turn it around, you know. So, you know, when I look at young kids and they're going through a hard time, and I just tell them, so look, you know, where there's threat, there's opportunity, and for every negative, you know, there is a positive, and you got to search for it, but it is there, and you know, so I could say I definitely got that from college, and you know, terminology and some of that other stuff, you know, when you're dealing with accounting and finance, you know, that does help a little bit too.
Yeah, that's so. So how did you get involved? I mean, you were in a different. I take it most people I've talked to did not start out in food. They started in something else. They kind of went into food. Was that kind of your path as well, or did your family start out making dat sauce or dat ketchup? What came
Well,
first?
I worked in the oil field, as a summer job when I was in college. And when I graduated college, I was in the oil field. Every job I could get with my degree, I made twice as much money in the oil field doing, inspection work or oil field work. So that led me from one thing. I ended up starting a oil field rental company. I had that for 10 years. I turned around and sold it, for a bunch of money. Then I started an oil field rigging and inspection company. Had it for 2 years, turned around, sold it, made a bunch of money. And then I was done. I was retired. I had all the money I needed. I had bought a house in Florida. And, from that point on, I planned on just hunt. I bought a bunch of cows because my vision of retirement was sitting on the porch with a bunch of cows out there making babies and drinking, sitting on the porch, drinking beer, watching, cows have babies. And that was an illusion. Anyone that has that thought in their mind, scratch it, because cows aren't that fun.
Yeah, well,
And they all work. If I'm a horrible cattleman, but I tell you what, it's I learn more and more every day, and it's not an easy job.
it is tough work,
Sure.
and I can tell you, I'm involved with some ranchers, that are raising the Akaushi we talked about, the Wagyu cattle, and it is ass busting work. I mean, it is not fun and games. It is all serious business, and it's a lot of sweat. And we're going to talk about obviously dat sauce, dat ketchup, but since you brought the cow up, I was going to do it later, but we'll do it now because I think the audience is going to love this. I want to talk about a little situation you had a while back and tell us about it. But as you do that, I'm going to show people a picture of this shot right here of you on the floor, you're bottle feeding the cow. Absolutely incredible. Tell us about that story and how that happened, because here's this big guy. You look like you break somebody's balls, and you're on the floor with a little jug. It looks like you're in your, kind of like me, in a pajamas, top or jacket, and you're feeding this cow. So I want to hear the story, and I know all of our visitors do as well. So tell us about this cow.
Okay. Well, I was at home one day, and this guy, on my property is a pump that pumps all the water. I guess all the subdivisions in this one town, all the water drains in these canals, and there's a big pump that pumps it out. Well, the guy that works at pumping station calls me up. He said, "Hey, one of your calves, is sick. Something's wrong with it. It's not getting up." So I said, "All right, I'll come out there." And I went out there, and you could tell something had been eating on it. It ate the whole front shoulder, a hole in it, and you could see it. It was deep, and I mean, ate it to the bone, and it was infected. In my mind, there was no way this thing was going to die. And, most cattlemen would have put a bullet in his head. And if somebody called me and told me that they were in the same situation I was in, I'd tell them, shoot it. That's the smart thing to do. That's, the logical thing to do. I just couldn't do it, and I didn't do it. So I brought it home. It couldn't walk. I put it in my living room the first night. I tried to feed it, bottle. The next day, my neighbor's a nurse. She came over, and I told her a deal, and it was bad. And she put a hose pipe in there, and you could see all the infection coming out, and peroxide, and we started stuffing the wound with gauze, and just kind of bringing it, everything you do. And it, if I had $1 million to bet one way or the other, I'd have said, no way is it going to make it. And I think anybody that would have saw it would agree. But it slowly started coming back, building up strength. We bottle fed it, like a baby every 2 or 3 hours. It was wanting to bottle it. I built a little fence in my backyard. If you could,
we see it. Yeah, we can see it on the video. Yeah, your little fence in the eating area.
Yeah. So that was this yard, and it started getting healthy. And about 5 weeks, it got to the point where it was busting out of that fence. And so instead of bringing it back to the herd and putting it, I don't even know which cow was its mama, but instead of bringing it back to the herd and becoming part of the the herd that would probably end up at an auction and probably slaughtered somewhere. I brought it to the petting zoo because it's, it's tame. All my friends, their kids, they bring their kids over and grandkids over to feed it and pet it. And so, got a little attached to it. And a lot of the kids that came, they all got attached to it. So we brought it to the petting zoo, and I go check on it about once a week now. But it's doing good. It has a whole bunch of friends over there, and it's in no danger of being butchered.
So Scott Green does have a big heart. Big guy, tough guy, but you got a big heart. So that's great.
Don't tell nobody. I don't want that getting out.
All right, I won't tell anybody. Don't send the link to this interview to anybody because it's going to destroy you after this. So
yeah,
that
toughness. I don't want people to think I'm a sissy.
Yeah. Well, talking about sissies, you have had an incredible experience with some TV shows filming on your property. Why don't you tell us about that? And there's something airing tonight. So what's going on?
So last year, toward the end of last year, we had Naked and Afraid XL.
Is that Naked and Afraid or Naked and Afraid?
Naked.
Okay.
Made of tomato. No clothes.
Okay.
On the swamps.
All right, no clothes. Okay. Naked. And, free swinging, right?
So there was 7 guys and 5 girls, and they had 4. They started off with 4 camps. And I brought them out there. I'm telling you, the first day, half of them were ready to drag up. The mosquitoes were horrible, but they managed. A hurricane came. This was the first 60-day show, okay. So they even made it through a hurricane. The last hurricane, which was the worst for me, I got the most damage from the last hurricane last year. I think there was 7 of them total that hit this area. But that was the only one that I had any damage with, and they stayed out during that as well. And so 7 of them. Well, I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to say
how
many of them
don't say. We're not going to trouble. Tell me though the alligator story, because I know there was something happened with an alligator, and that probably isn't going to be on the show, right? But maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see.
Oh yeah, well, I don't know, but. When the hurricane came, I had a houseboat out there that the producers and stuff would go hang out at during the day if they had to go to the bathroom or, just get out the weather. It's a place they can make phone calls, do some work, whatever they wanted to do. It was out there. So when the hurricane was coming, I moved it closer to the set where, the camps were, and they had medics, and just in case they got in a bind, they needed a place to go. They had a houseboat to go to. So when the storm passed and I was moving it back on the location I originally had it, I was pulling it, and we were going, and I looked up. We were passing one of the camps, and they had 2 naked guys standing on the side of the bank holding a alligator head up in the air, and hollering, 8-footer, baby, 8-footer. I was like, my buddy was with me. I was like, man, you don't see that too often.
That's sure a visual. That's a hell of a visual.
So I can't wait. Like I said, I've never really watched the show prior to this. Yeah. But now I'm kind of curious because all the people that were out there, they're called legends. So these are like the best of the best. They've already survived one of the other challenges that they do, and this is the first 60-day one. And supposedly one of the hardest, which I would agree. I wouldn't want to go out there.
We'll watch tonight. I think it's airing tonight on, what channel is it on?
At
I think you're breaking up a little bit, Scott. It's all that energy, man. There you go.
7 o'clock on the Discovery Channel.
7 o'clock on Discovery Channel, Naked and Afraid. We're going to watch that. XL.
Yes.
Oh, that's right. Naked and Afraid.
Naked and Afraid XL.
XL. Okay.
And that will be on my property. Now today, I brought some guys from the movie industry out there, and I think they're with the History Channel. I didn't even ask them, but I think it's some of the same people. If you've seen that movie Alone,
yeah,
I think it's the same people, but I think they calling it something different. 2 Men in the Woods. I don't even know what they calling it.
All right.
But they're going to drop 2 guys out in the woods with their clothes on, and they're going to teach you how to survive, in the woods. So now when we pulled up to where their campsite's going to be, we walked 20 yards and then we saw 3 snakes, a copperhead, a little young copperhead, about a foot and a half.
Deadly.
Oh yeah, they're the worst because the young ones, they don't know they don't limit how much venom they put in. They don't know to conserve it. They just, when they bite you, they're throwing everything they got at you.
Wow. So
we saw 1 copperhead and 1 cottonmouth and 1 grass snake. Oh. So I asked the guy, the safety guy there, I said, well, look, as y'all filming, I'd like y'all to keep track of how many snakes y'all see, how many of them are poisonous and how many of them aren't, because I'm, curious to know the percentage of poisonous snakes versus non-poisonous. So he said he was going to do it. So I'm curious to see.
Wow. Well, those guys, it's 2 guys, no women, right?
2 guys, yes.
Yeah, because women aren't as crazy as guys are to go in with a bunch of cottonmouth and copperheads and
I'm sure they got them out there.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That would love to do it.
Oh my God,
if they're going to go out there and do it naked, they had 5 of them that were willing to go do it out there.
They're already naked out there, so why not do with some clothes on?
Oh, I guarantee you, they'd love to come do it with the clothes on.
Man, well, I wouldn't want to do it unless I had chainmail on and probably a whole suit of that. So,
when you come down here, we'll go out there. But I have a houseboat, and we'll make sure you have air conditioner, shower, and all the.
All right. Well, I'm carrying my gun because I don't I hate snakes. So any snake I see is not going to live very long. Sorry.
We like guns, and we like to shoot them with. Shoot snakes with guns.
All right. Well, we'll have to barbecue some snake meat, man. That'll be delicious.
Yeah. I did kill a rattlesnake and cooked it, just out of curiosity, and it wasn't bad. Just it was kind of like eating a crab. A lot of work for a little bit of meat.
Right. Well, hey, I'm curious. So what came first, the sauce or the ketchup? And by the way, I know some people will be upset at you because you don't have anything on your tables. I actually have it for you right here. I got the D.a.T sauce and I got the D.a.T ketchup. My favorite. It's in the kitchen all the time. And I know you got some good chefs that are out there on Instagram. I'm going to show some pictures also a little bit later that are using this. I sent this to some people, and they are hooked. One guy just did a big video. You don't know yet, but he did a video this morning. Barbecue Man, Oscar, he's in El Salvador, actually. And he did a huge video. I sent him this, the D.a.T sauce, D.a.T ketchup. He did a whole feast using the stuff. It looks incredible. When we're done with the show, I'll show you how to get onto that so you can see that, because I know social media isn't like your big, huge thing.
Well, when it came, like I was telling you earlier, I retired, and my cousin, he had been making this sauce. His wife's grandfather used to make a sauce, and they called it pop sauce. And he had asked my cousin, "Hey Don, you want to learn how to cook it?" My cousin was like, "Oh no, I'll just get it from you," because it was a big family secret, his whole recipe, and he was willing to share it with them. But he was kind of bad. No, I'll just get it from you. Well, the grandfather passed away. And so my cousin decided he was going to try to duplicate the recipe. So for 10 years, he would make this recipe, and he would tweak it and change it. And he'd make it for the family, hand out bottles. And they would always tell him, "Yeah, it's good, but it's not quite pop sauce." I mean, and my cousin went a little crazy way. He grew his own peppers. I mean, he did everything. And finally, one day, he made a batch and handed it to everybody. And yeah, it's good, but it's not quite pop sauce. And he got upset. He said, "Well, this isn't pop sauce. This is D.a.T sauce." So my cousin, his initials.
Oh, we lost your video, Scott. Oh, there. I think we lost your video. What's going on? I think Scott just lost his video. I'll have to wait here for him to get back. That was a great story. Scott just joined back here. Hopefully he can get back in. Let me get him back here. I think the Louisiana Bayou sucked him up. And while we're waiting for him to hopefully reconnect, we've got some other stuff here to show you. The thing that was really cool about talking to him is just the guy's got so many stories to go. And we're going to try to get him back on here briefly. This is part of the fun of the technology. So hang tight with me, and hopefully his phone didn't go dead. And have him join back in. Okay, get him going on that. And hopefully, people watching the show tonight, you watched the TV episode that the Naked and Afraid XL, where the people were dropped off. And I know that there was a really bad hurricane that was going on at the time, which was insane. And they were out there naked and afraid. I'd be afraid too in a hurricane situation. Hopefully he can get on here. And I want to see that show tonight. That'll be on Discovery. That'll be really kind of nice. So Scott, hopefully you can get back on. And we're looking for you here. Here he comes. I figure we get him back. And Scott, we didn't have an alligator lose you, did we?
Hey.
There he is. What happened to you there?
Oh, I had a phone call. I'm on my cell phone, and I had a phone call, and it went blank on me.
Oh, you had a phone call. That's okay.
I know. I don't know how to undo that.
Well, that's fine. We'll go ahead and get you back in here. I thought maybe like a big alligator came out of the water and got you or something.
Well, anyway, so my cousin was making this, and he got upset, and he said, this isn't pop sauce, this is D.a.T sauce. So his name is Don Abner Tabor.
Okay.
And his initials are D.a.T. Okay. So in high school, the coaches and all his friends called him D.a.T. So that's how he came up with the name. So the recipe is his recipe for the sauce, trying to duplicate his wife's grandfather's pop sauce.
Gotcha.
And so that's how we came up with the sauce. And then I would always mix the D.a.T sauce with ketchup. So I said, instead of doing this, why not just make a ketchup, an all natural and, with the same thought process. And so we did. It has the same exact ingredients in the ketchup as in the sauce, but different proportions. And the only difference, instead of having red pepper flakes that we have in the sauce, we have cayenne pepper in the ketchup.
You can see the red pepper flakes in the sauce here, right through that label.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. And
so
that's not in the ketchup, you said?
The red pepper flakes are not.
Okay.
Heat, the little bit of spice that you taste is from cayenne pepper, but the sweetness is from the red onions. I mean, we cook down the red onions, the yellow onions, the garlic, all of that's in there.
Gotcha. So the sauce came first, then came the ketchup.
Correct.
So go ahead.
Well, and it's I was in the oil field, and I think I probably could have sold toilet paper in the oil field and been successful, and the only thing dumber than going from the oil field to the food industry, thinking you're going to be successful, is going from the food industry to the oil field, knowing nothing, thinking you're going to be successful, because neither one of them are smart. And I've done them both, and I was very fortunate, in both occasions that, to find my path and make my way through it. But it's definitely a challenge, and it's definitely different than the oil field.
Yeah. Now, with that being said, you're in over, I think, what is it, over 3,300 stores across the U.S. Is that the count?
Yeah. And we're talking to some of the big boys right now, and crossing my fingers that that number could double real quick, if not triple.
Wow. Well, that's going to be really exciting. I really wish you the best for that, because I mean, you are in, of course, the Ukulele Barbecue kitchen. That's the most important kitchen, of course. I know that was critical for you. So you're there. We had another guest in the show, Chef Gasson Nelson. He's a big D.a.T sauce, D.a.T ketchup guy. Fantastic chef. He loves the sauce, and it's catching on like wildfire, man, in the barbecue community. People can't get enough of it. And the thing that's great about the sauce and the ketchup I love is, people ask me, well, is it ketchup? And I tell them it's not really ketchup, but it's not barbecue sauce. And you understand, it's hard to explain to somebody until they actually taste it, and then they're like, I know what you're talking about. You're right. It's not barbecue sauce, but it's not ketchup like Hunt's ketchup, which I don't like that kind of ketchup. But and same with the sauce. It's not hot and spicy. When I first saw it, a little bit of hot with a whole lot of flavor. Great saying, great slogan. But it's not that hot really, because you can tone it down. You can add it to every kind of food. It's not just like a hot sauce. That's what I think is fantastic about it. So,
well, they complement almost anything. So even if your favorite hot sauce is Tabasco, and you want to add some flavor to Tabasco, put some D.a.T sauce on it. it complements that. It A1 start. If you like A1 with your steak, add some D.a.T sauce to it and taste it then. And I'm telling you, it makes everything taste better. So doesn't, it's not, a lot of people look at, well, you have to have one or the other, but you don't. You just imagine some cooked down onions, garlic, and tomatoes and peppers all cooked down, and add it with whatever recipe or seasoning that you like. If you like, some dry, Tony's backyard seasoning, one of those, or barbecue sauce. It doesn't matter. You add it to whatever you like the best and see if it doesn't make it better.
Well, I mean, I got to tell you, my mother-in-law, and she cooks a ton. Has this kind of shrimp prawn cocktail recipe, and the sauce was good, but it was one of those things we had in the family for a long time, 20-something years. She ended up tasting the sauce, and she's really mad at me because whenever I get these great products and I let her taste them, she ends up going and buying them. And she bought a case of your the D.a.T sauce, D.a.T ketchup. She's got a case of it, and now she used that with her prawn cocktail, and it is seriously, it is the most amazing cocktail with your sauces. Whole new level, which shows you can take something you've done for years, and if you just want to step out of the box a little bit, try something new. And she's always good about that, is trying something new. She really elevated it to a whole different dish. So it was really amazing to see that actually transform, which was really cool. So with that said, you're also a big part of the military. So tell us, your involvement in the U.S. military. I think it's a fascinating story. People that are watching this interview are going to be amazed. And, I have some follow-up questions because there's other people I know on Instagram and my friends that are getting the sauces out there and things. And the biggest trouble is, how do I get out there? How do I get big? How do I make money and not sell, just 20 bottles a month? I want to sell 2,000 bottles a month or 200,000 bottles. How did you, tell us your involvement in that, and how did you get involved in that? How did it happen?
Well, the United States military is probably the biggest customer in the world. So, if you're in the, what I've learned in the food industry, either you can spend a whole lot of money on marketing, commercials, and, or, have that one customer that will, like for us, it's the military. It could be a restaurant, it could be whatever. But for us, it was the military, and they took it in, they liked it. They sent it out to, we're in what they call the UGRA, which is the Unitized Group Rations, and the A stands for the Army. So anytime the Army does any type of training exercise or during war times, they set up these mobile kitchens. So when they set up a mobile kitchen, they send food out to the soldiers in what they call a module. So each module will feed 50 soldiers. They'll have everything they need to feed 50 napkins, dessert. So if there's a steak, say they go treat, Friday, they're going to have a steak day, and there's 50 soldiers out there. They'll get a module. They'll have 50 steaks. They'll have, the plastic forks, knives, paper plates, and they'll have 2 15-ounce bottles of D.a.T sauce for steak day.
So is it this is 5 ounces. They have 15 ounces, you said?
Yeah. Now
these are 5 ounces, right? 5 ounces.
Yeah. So what happened with that? That's funny. So we go to the military food show. I had a friend said, "Man, you need to get your product in the military." I said, "Well, I'd love to do that. How do I do it?" And he said, "Well, you need to go to this food show. It's called the R&DA military food service." So he told. I was a little skeptic. I said, "Well, how about?" He said, "Just come as my guest, and I'll introduce you to everybody." And so I went, and of course, he introduced me to everybody. And so the next day, so I met I call her the gatekeeper. She's like, Miss Beverly. She was the one that to get into this particular. If you take the military and you have this great big old pie and you have to slice it up. Of course, you got the Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force. Well, we're in the Army, which is, say that the slice is the size of my living room. So the recliner is the UGRA. Then they got the MREs, which is the sofa. There's the dining facility. There's so many commissaries. There's so many different aspects. But, I felt like the UGRA was me, and Miss Beverly was the main lady. So I focused on her, and I gave her a sample. and she brought it home, and and I get a phone call a few weeks later from Miss Beverly, and she goes, Scott, I have a problem. And, he said, I took your product out of my pantry. I was all excited. I'm going to try to use it. And I went to undo the cap. And when I unscrewed it, the glass broke right at where the threads were.
Worst thing that happened to you, right?
The only time it's ever happened.
Of course.
And the one lady, the gatekeeper, who, you got to go through her to get in. I mean, there's a whole bunch of levels that you got to go. The soldiers have the final say. So the soldiers vote you in or out.
Oh,
so it's not political. If the soldiers like your product, you when you go out to field trials, it's the soldiers that say yes or no. But before you get to field trials, you have to go through so many steps. And the first one is the gatekeeper. And when she called me and told me that it broke at the cap in the thread, my heart dropped. And I was like, the only time it's ever happened, and it happened to her. So she asked me if I could find a plastic bottle. Okay. And I said, well, I will search high and low. And I found a facility, a place that had some. We did all, of course, I had to do all this fast throttle because, while it's a 2-year process to get in, 2 years sounds like a lot of time. But I'm telling you, every deadline, I mean, we made it just one thing after, getting everything tested, everything done, having it, cooked right. We had to go to a whole different facility to have it co-packed. But
that's exciting.
The bottom line is we did it. And it went in, and they love it. And, we've been getting a lot of positive feedback.
So now why aren't you in the Marines, the Air Force, and the Navy?
Well, we have a food show in June, and they'll all be there, and they've all had it. They've tried it. The Navy, we met with, this was the East Coast chef. He loved it. He wanted it in there, but he said it was too expensive. But he was comparing us to regular, hot sauce, the vinegar and water hot sauce.
Right.
So he wasn't comparing us to
apples.
It wasn't apple, like an all-purpose, flavor sauce, So he did, Air Force, we approved to go in the Air Force. There's just every branch has their own little process you have to go through.
Right.
And we're approved to go to all of them. And we were really planning on being in all of them by this time right now. I would love to have said, and I thought we would by now be in every branch. But, when COVID hit, it kind of shut everything down. They quit taking new products. So this food show that we have coming up in June will be the first one since COVID. And it's going to be both online and in person, but we're going to go in person.
Well, good luck. I hope you get it, because they certainly deserve to have your sauces. Now, this is this ketchup one is in a plastic bottle.
Yeah.
The sauce is in a traditional glass bottle. Did you make a plastic one of this, like, for example, to send to them, or the bigger? You have a bigger bottle.
It's a 15-ounce one.
Okay.
And now we did have the first batch of military product that we sent out, the 15-ounce. We did sell some of that online, but we don't sell any of the 15-ounce to any of the grocery stores. It's all the little bottles.
That's a 12
some
ounce.
Of the restaurants,
12 ounce.
The restaurants we'll push. They want the gallons, so we'll get them the gallons. I guess if somebody called and said, "Hey, send me this many pallets of the 15-ounce," I would do it.
Sure.
I would.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, we could do anything we want.
Why not, right? So well, this is just fascinating, and you got so many stories. And one of the things that's awesome is all my viewers are barbecue, of course. I'm barbecue, and I consider myself also kind of the chef in the kitchen when I don't do pure barbecue, and that's why I love the D.a.T sauce stack ketchup, because I use it on everything. But you have an incredible grill. I hope we don't lose connection. I just got a glimpse of it. Can we show people what you're cooking dinner, I think, tonight, right? On this grill. So go ahead and take it. You're good. Take your phone, and as long as nobody calls you, I think we'll be good. I want people to see this. This barbecue is awesome. My wife would look crazy. I'm like,
But-
I want this in my backyard, but this is awesome.
So I used to have a rigging and inspection company,
Look at that.
and we sold chains and latches and binders and shackles. So I had one of my guys weld all this up. You know, it's old. It hadn't been painted or anything in a while, but you know, you can kind of see. So you know, then you got the inside where you light the fire right there, and then you grill right here.
Wow.
So
I mean, we've had people. That's all chain around the outside of it.
That's all chain. Each link is welded. Let's see if you can get in. But there's a weld between each.
Holy cow!
To hold it up, and then there's a footrest down here. Same thing.
A footrest. You have to put a footrest on your barbecue.
Well, if you have a chair, you know, if you have a bar stool there,
that's true.
You
ever made a fire on it, and then you sit at like a hot fire and roast marshmallows on or something?
So you were asking me about a mud boat earlier. Since I got up, I figured I'd show you a mud boat. So
all right,
mud boat is an aluminum boat. It has a car engine, a V8, and with a shaft going through the floor. So there's the.
Oh wow!
Can you see that? So that's the engine.
Oh, I got excited. You know, I thought that was a grill or a smoker.
So, you know, there's the fuel tank. You sit on the fuel tank right behind the engine.
That is
and
awesome.
Then underneath it has a big old propeller. Can you see underneath that?
Oh yeah, I see it. But how come they said it's a mud boat? If that propeller goes in mud, doesn't that thing just gunk up and it just gets stuck?
No, you understand. There's a V8 engine, 350 or however many horsepower it has. And when you put it in gear, it cuts a ditch. It goes through mud.
Oh, that sounds fun.
You know, if however deep the water is in front of you, once you drive through it, it's 3 feet deep behind you.
Oh my God. Wow. That's a lot.
So there we go. We back.
That's all right.
This is my morning office right here. So
isn't the area where Wagyu was at behind you?
So Wagyu was his pasture right there.
That was it. We saw the video
on. Yesterday I showed you that tree that I had two. The tree when it froze this year, it killed this. It's beautiful, some kind of lily flowers. You know, it's a beautiful flower, but when it freezes, it kills it. So it was I was ready to cut it down, and I showed it to you yesterday. But they had 2 ducks in there with a nest.
Oh,
well, they finally hatched their babies, and the nest moved. So I was looking at it yesterday. I said, "Well, I need to cut this down." I had an idea last night. Instead of cutting it down, I threw gas on it. I burnt it. So, you know, that's if you remember yesterday.
Oh yeah, you got rid of it.
Yeah, I burnt it. So now it's going to be a lot easier to go cut.
Where are the ducks going to have their babies now? With the duck eggs?
Well, it'll grow back, you know, in a couple of weeks.
Oh, in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it won't take long.
It's like hypergrowth over there. So what do you like to barbecue? I mean, and don't say hamburgers and hot dogs.
Well, you know, I like an open fire.
Push your phone up a little, Scott. Your phone's a little down. I want to see that beautiful mug of yours.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. Up a little bit more. There we go.
So I like over an open fire. You know, if I want to smoke it, then typically what I'll take is aluminum foil, and I'll put it over the fire. And the aluminum foil, you know, from one end of the grill to the other.
Right.
And that'll catch the smoke. So I can still use an open fire and smoke stuff. It's just not a traditional smoker. You put a piece of aluminum foil over your meat,
right,
and it'll capture that smoke. So it'll give you that same smoke. But I love an open fire. I cook with oak, pecan, mesquite, hickory. You know, I get my hickory from Missouri when I go deer hunting. I get my mesquite from Texas when I go deer hunting. My pecan and oak I get from around here.
Wow.
And, you know, so I like my wood. You know, even if I'm using a traditional fireplace with charcoal, I always like to have at least one piece of wood in there.
Wood chunk.
To me, it makes all the difference in the world. You know, I don't want to knock people that use charcoal, because I see the value in charcoal and, you know, having a good, you know, cold, you know, steady heat. But when you're talking flavor, it's hard to beat a good wood, a pecan, or, you know, mesquite's kind of strong, but if you let it burned down, it's not so bad. But I like pecan, I like oak, I like
So one thing you
mesquite,
didn't
hickory.
mention that's like pecan that we have a lot of here because I'm near what they call the Central Valley, which is the agricultural belt here in California. Is I
Yeah,
use a lot of almond wood. Have you ever used almond wood before?
no,
It's
no,
fantastic. It's almost like pecan. It's so close. I call it like the cousin. If you cook with pecan and almond and close your eyes, it'd be really close. I think it'd be hard to tell what it was, but it's got that really nice mild smoke to it. Not as much bite as like an oak, there as well, and especially not like a
yeah,
mesquite or a hickory. But what kind of
yeah.
meats do you like cooking? I mean, is like a favorite? If you had
Well,
one meat to cook, what would you pick?
most of the stuff we cook, it's stuff we either catch, kill, or we do alligator, we do deer meat, we do shrimp, we do fish. We do it all. It's hard to beat a steak though. It's
Yes, it is.
if I only have one meat and I got to cook it on a fire, I mean, I want a big fat juicy ribeye.
There you go, ribeye. It's like number one. I think most people are. I'll take a ribeye.
Yeah,
How do you
but
alligators is always fascinating to me because it's so abundant there. And I know that when I was in New Orleans a few years ago, went to a place that served like alligator dogs and things. When I talked to them about how they make it, it's never 100% alligator, and I guess they add pork or something to it because the
yeah.
meat is so dry. What do you guys see an
Uh,
alligator?
uh, well, I was looking because you'll see a couple of them swimming around here. They normally have them here in the backyard, but uh,
And your snakes and your
oh yeah,
we saw
there's
that
there's
yesterday.
snakes, alligator. Yeah,
Jeez.
we have all the critters.
Yeah. So
The
when you get an
mosquitoes are the
alligator,
worst.
the mosquitoes, I know they are the worst. I'm glad when I was down there, I was not. Well, we were on the water, but we were on the boat, the airboats, but we didn't have any mosquitoes because I think we were doing like 60 miles an hour. I don't think they could keep up with us.
Yeah.
What? So what? How do you prepare alligator when you cook it?
Well, you can grill it on the pit. You can fry it. I think a lot of people, most people that can say they ate alligator probably said they had it in a restaurant. Alligator bites, little bitty nuggets. Uh, but I like it on the grill with a little dat sauce, dat ketchup, and honey. Or
Interesting.
Dr. Bill syrup is I got some samples of that, and I'll tell you what, there's certain seasonings that really bring out, like I said, because you can add them to anything. You
Right.
know, my honey is one thing I used to use on almost anything.
Yep.
I always like a little bit of sweet and a little bit of heat.
Hmm.
So when it's kind of like salt and pepper. A lot of people, if you only had 3 seasons, what are you going to use? I mean, do you have a pepper? Do you have salt? Do you have, if you had to do a combination sweet, heat, and sodium, what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well,
That sauce, of course, has a combination of all, but you're looking for that. I use honey on almost everything.
yeah. Well, honey's great, but
And
you mentioned Dr. Bill's. Dr. Bill's can't make
Dr.
the syrup.
Bill, I got some of his product, and I
Is it
tell you what,
incredible?
it was awesome, and we used it. I used it in place of honey until I ran out and had to go back to honey. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I liked it. It has a unique flavor, and would definitely recommend it.
Yeah, I've actually used it quite a bit. I've used that with actually the Dat sauce on
Yeah,
some of the sauce I made, and it is absolutely incredible because it brings that heat in, that tanginess with the sweetness, but it's not so sugary. A honey's really strong, pronounced,
yeah.
flavor that almost overpowers some things. People use too much of it, but yeah, it's great. So I love the fact how you can blend all these sauces, and that's what I love doing is taking. I call it making flavor babies, y'all. I make flavor babies.
So,
I take different
so I'm
sauces.
gonna give you a recipe. I'm gonna give you a recipe in your viewers real quick.
Okay.
So if you take say a salmon or any kind of fish,
All right.
and you want something that's quick, easy, and out of this world. This is it. Whatever slab of fish you got, doesn't
Okay.
matter. Take the shittiest, I mean, the worst or the best fish you got.
Yeah.
Season it however you want to season it. Salt, pepper, your dry seasoning. Take your pan, a little bit of olive oil in it. bring it like a medium-high heat. Put your fish in there. Now, when you flip your fish, cook it for a little while till you see it, almost halfway through. Flip it. And when you flip it, pour some D.a.T sauce, some D.a.T ketchup. I like to do 50-50. It could be 60-40, 70-30. However you figure it out yourself, what you like the best. And then, Dr. Bill syrup, honey, that little on top of it, not too much, but just enough. And then a little piece of butter. And then you stir it around in there. And when that butter melts and all those seasonings blend, you just shake your little pan and you slide out and pour that sauce on top of it. Unbelievable. Now, if you want to go a step further, you can chop up some onion, some red onions, some onions, bell peppers, whatever, and put in that, when you put the fish in, you can put that in, let it start softening. By the time you mix everything together and your fish is ready, you stir it all up and pour that on top of it. I see you licking your lips.
You're getting hungry, man. I had a little breakfast. That was it. I'm waiting to eat.
Now, look, that same recipe, you could do a chicken thigh, a chicken breast, a steak, but that little combination, a little bit of ketchup, that D.a.T ketchup, that D.a.T sauce, and, that little sweet, Dr. Bill's, honey, and then if you run, some green onions or red, chopped up real small, put it in there. Like when you first put the fish in there, like I said, put it off to the side. When you flip that fish, because your fish, you don't want to overcook it. You want it, kind of a medium.
Right.
Where it has a little, especially if it's salmon, you want it kind of medium rare. And I tell you what, you pour that sauce on top of it afterward, and you eat it.
Sounds good.
You'll think you're something special.
We got a bunch of people on YouTube that are actually in the chat, and one of the questions came up for you specifically, Scott, was what was the most uncommon thing or the strangest thing that you've ever put D.a.T ketchup on?
Oh, well, the D.a.T ketchup, I could tell you, I went through a little phase where, I felt like D.a.T sauce made this was just before the ketchup. Okay. So, I'll answer that question specifically, but I went to an Outback Steakhouse restaurant, and I was like, and I brought my own bottle of D.a.T sauce. And I said, well, I'm going to try everything on it. So I ordered all the appetizers, and I put it on everything. I said, man, this tastes good on everything. So I said, well, I'm going to try dessert. So I had a brownie, or some kind of little brownie they had with a scoop of ice cream. And I put D.a.T sauce on it just to try it. It didn't work. Don't do that. I can say without a doubt, ice cream and brownies and D.a.T sauce do not go together at all.
Well, hey, at least you're an honest man and to go, oh, it was so delicious, because then we know it's BS.
No. I tried a Reese's Pieces, Reese's peanut butter cup.
Oh, my favorite. That's my favorite.
That didn't work. No. Don't mix that sauce or D.a.T ketchup with it. It doesn't work either.
All right. That's a good story.
So I can't tell you it's good with everything, but I can say with honesty, almost anything you put it to, it'll make it taste better.
Right. Yeah, and one of the things that I do is I showed an Instagram feed. You won't see it, but there's a lot of people, believe it or not, that are out there. I got some D.a.T sauce in some hands of some incredible cooks and barbecuers, and one of the guys who's a friend of mine, he's actually in Atlanta. He actually did an incredible brisket smoked queso, and it's by At Savory Smoker, and you'll have to check it out, man, because there's people that are doing some incredible stuff with the D.a.T sauce, and he's got it right in there. Adding D.a.T sauce to your favorite dip recipes is a game changer. So, that's just a compliment to you on how great things are. And then somebody, I think, I got your feed here, incredible photos that are on the feed. Another one that I thought was just amazing, looking at your feed, was by Chef Johnny G. And she has a whole bunch of stuff on here that is just absolutely incredible.
Catfish Town, USA. Yeah,
Crawfish Town, USA is on there, and pulling up this po' boy that is absolutely fantastic with lettuce, tomatoes, spicy mayo, made with D.a.T sauce and fried jalapenos with a side of onion rings. That just, God, we do have one place here that does po' boy. He's actually from New Orleans, and he opened a restaurant right in Castro Valley, my little town, And so we go there, and he has truly authentic New Orleans food, and it's amazing. But that's the only place you can get it. There's nowhere else in Northern California that serves food like this. And she has just done incredible dishes that I love seeing on your feed. So if people haven't checked it out, you got to go check out the Dat Sauce LA feed on Instagram, because it is really incredible. It's got amazing people, and of course I got to pull up a picture, Scott, of you and Chef Gasson, who was on the show here before you, and you guys are there cooking. Of course, he's got a pan in his hand like always, and it looks like it's too easy, right? Too easy.
Yeah. Well, Chef Gasson, he and his daughter came with us this past weekend to our camp in Lafitte.
Oh, right.
So we went bow fishing. We shot an alligator gar, and we're gonna probably cook that in the next day or two. And then we were riding around in the airboat, and his daughter shot a wild boar, a wild pig.
Wow.
We were riding, and she shot it. And I'll tell you what, you wear these ear protections in the airboat to protect your ear. But when his daughter shot that pig, I mean, you could hear Chef Gasson. I mean, he was hooping and he was so excited. I mean, I needed ear protection from him, not the engine. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was pumped up.
Oh,
so, matter of fact, that meat is in the ice chest, about 10 yards from me, and he's supposed to come over here and cook it.
Oh, so awesome! Wow.
We have the alligator gar, and that he's never seen, never even heard of. So this will be his first time cooking it.
Wow.
And then we have a pig. So, a wild pig. So, yeah, they came out there, slept at the camp with us. We had a good time, and we got to shoot a garfish with the bow and arrow, and a pig, out the airboat.
That sounds amazing. I can't wait when I take my tour over to New Orleans and Morgan City. We're going to have a good time going out there, hopefully do some hunting, fishing. You said it's jug lining. I don't know what jug lining is, but I'm sure it's some Cajun thing that I got to get dirty doing, right?
Well, it's fishing for catfish, but it's the lazy way. You take a jug and you take a piece of string, maybe 10, 15 feet long, tie a weight to it, and then about 2 feet below the jug, you tie a leader with a hook. Okay. So you bait the hook, you throw it out, you throw out 20 jugs, and you ride around, drink your favorite beverage and listen to music, and by the time you set them out and you take a little ride and you come back, they you have fish on them already.
Wow.
And
do you have to go down, do you go and stick your hand? What's that thing to do? Noodling? Do you ever go noodling down there?
No, we have too many snapping turtles over here.
Yeah, I wonder.
You know what? They hang out in the same place as catfish do.
Oh, really? Anybody who's been noodling stuck their hand in there and got bit by a snapping turtle?
Well, be honest with you, I don't know. People ask me about going noodling. I said, yeah, you can go noodle all you want, but I'm not going to do it.
So it's the one thing you won't do. You won't be noodling back there, right there in the back down there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Well,
but I tell you what, it's I think we need to open up a chef class, and maybe we'll get some of these local chefs to go down the bayou, and this is how you do it. These chefs from out of I go to restaurants all the time. When I go to my friend's house out of state, they all want to go to their Cajun restaurant, or they want to eat Louisiana this, Louisiana that. And the hardest thing to find, even in Louisiana, for me, the hardest thing to find is a good gumbo.
Really?
You can't, it's no matter what restaurant. I mean, now don't get me wrong. There's some excellent ones out there, but they're so hard to find. When I go to a restaurant and they have gumbo, I always get a cup just to taste it. But I can tell you 9 out of 10 times I taste a gumbo, it's not a gumbo. It's nothing even close to a gumbo.
Is that because they're missing some Dat sauce in it?
Well, that's that's definitely one thing missing. But there's some seasoning they put in there, and I couldn't even tell you what it is.
Well, what's a good gumbo to you? When you say it's not what is oh my God, this is amazing gumbo. What does it have to have, the components? Because for us West Coast people, I've been there, I've had gumbo, but I mean, it tasted okay. I don't know if it's good, bad, because we don't have that out here.
Well, my son's his 22nd birthday is next month, and he wanted me to cook for him. I said, well, what do you want? I'll cook anything you want. he wanted chicken and sausage gumbo.
Okay.
That's he you know, I'm thinking ribeye, I'm thinking all this, you know, fried shrimp. I'm thinking, and he came up with chicken and sausage gumbo, and he said, well, that's my favorite. So I was like, well, chicken and sausage gumbo, you're gonna get.
Well, so how do you do it? What are the components in it that make it so good?
Well, you make a roux, of course.
Right. Flour and butter, right?
Well, there's 100 ways to make a roux. Some people use no grease in the oven. So, you know, I do it old school. I have the oil. You know, I cook it on high heat because you know, some people spend 4 hours on a roux. I don't do that.
Wow.
You know, but you know, I put it on high heat, and you know, you got to constantly stir it, and you know, cook it all in flour. Now you have to have your roux right for your gumbo to come out right. So, but you know, that's pretty easy to get. You know, you look at the consist. You don't want it too thick, and you don't want it thin. You just want it somewhere in the middle. And with me, when my roux is almost done, when I'm about to, well, actually, turn it off. Then I add vegetables to it. You know, onions, bell peppers. You know, so you know, I put a handful in there, and it starts cooking, and that roux gets darker. It gets almost black. And I stir it up, and I just put it off to the side, and it'll stay cooking. It'll cool off, and it gets darker and darker as those vegetables cook. Don't ask me why. I don't know the science behind it. But when you pull it off the heat and you add those vegetables, it gets 3 shades darker after that.
What vegetables do you add?
Well, onions, bell peppers, celery. Sometimes I buy it already. You know, when I want to cheat, I buy the frozen already mixed, and I'll throw that in there. But I always put a fresh onion, you know, at least 1 or 2. But you know, like I said, I have friends that, you know, for them to cook a gumbo, it's 7 or 8 hours. But you know, they spend 4 hours on the roux, and I don't believe you have to do all that. You know, and like I said, there's some people don't like to cook with oil, so they, you know, flour in the oven or flour on a black iron pot, or they make a roux with butter. There's no wrong way to do it. It's just, you do it till it's right.
Right.
You know, but anyway, you get your roux first, and your stock is always good. You know, you got to have a seafood gumbo. You want to, you know, if you have seafood stock, you know, whether it's crabs, shrimp shells, or you know, make your stock, that's a key ingredient. You know, you can buy chicken stock from the store, which is good. You know, you add that to, you know, I always like, you know, half and half. If you use all stock, to me, it's a little salty. It's just not,
right.
You know, but I'll go half and half with the water, you know, and of course I add more onions, more garlic, bay leaves. You know, I use chicken thighs and chicken breasts. I like to debone mine. You know, it's good to have a little bit of skin in there just for flavor, but not too much. Whether you leave the bone going off, it doesn't matter.
Sounds awesome. Well, we have another question come up, and then we're gonna wrap up our 2 o'clock hour. And Barbecue Man was asking, are you gonna come out with any new flavors or any new products on the works?
Well, you know, I wanted to do a Bloody Mary. You know, if you that would probably Bloody Mary would be my if I had to go to one, just because I make a Bloody Mary with the sauce and the ketchup.
Okay.
And it's great. So I just felt like that would be a good, and I have so many friends that play music and in bars and we're in restaurants, that it would be a real good compliment. I like the Bloody Mary, but you know, I could probably come up with 100 items, but what I think I would like to do is try to promote my product that complements, you know, I don't need to come up with a barbecue sauce. There's a million good barbecue sauces out there. I would be one of a million. But if one of them barbecue sauces added that sauce to it, you know, it would make a hell of a difference. And if you put, you know, so-and-so's barbecue with that sauce, you know, it would, you know, people that like that sauce would see that, and odds are they would buy it just because of that. You know, same thing with green beans. You know, that sauce and green beans is awesome. But I don't want to start a line of green beans. But if there's a green bean company out there that wants that sauce in it, you know, I'll sell you the that sauce. And, you know, so I really don't think I want to do I originally thought, having, 6 or 8 products, from a salad dressings to I thought barbecue,
Right.
I thought all of it, because, but, it's so expensive to get a product out there
Right.
and get it that, I'd rather promote it, how like SaUcE or, there's certain flavors that you can add to anything, and it
Right.
kind of, it complements it,
Okay,
depending
well,
on what you want.
everybody go out and get some D.a.T sauce, D.a.T ketchup. Absolutely fantastic stuff. You can get it at D.a.T sauce online. They've got a store and in 3,300 plus stores across the U.S. Scott, you are amazing. I cannot wait to see you later this year. We're going to be cooking up a storm, hunting, fishing, and we'll go live and show everybody what's happening out on the bayou when I get there. How's that sound?
Sounds awesome. Look, don't forget, on each bottle of D.a.T sauce and D.a.T ketchup, there is a code on there. You check it. There's a code.
Oh yeah, there
you
is.
Go to
right?
our website. If you go to our website, enter that code, you get over $100 worth of free music downloads. So these are all our friends and that awesome songwriters, musicians, songwriters. This is songs that they wrote themselves. We have some blues, some gospel, some country.
There better be some ukulele stuff on here.
Yep. If you got a song you want to put on there, I know a guy that knows a girl that can make that happen.
Sounds like good, man. Well, hey, Scott, thanks a million for having a good time, and we're going to see you soon.
All right.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you.
Thanks. And everybody watching, we'll be up for some more interviews. Stay tuned for Strum Pluckin Good Live. We got great stuff coming on the rest of the year, and I'll be out in the bayou later on this year doing some live stuff. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for spending your time on a Sunday, and we love everybody out there.